Good morning and good afternoon. We'll get started in 1 minute. We're going to give the audience a little bit to trickle in, maybe get a glass of water so they can enjoy the show. We'll get started real quick. And in the meantime, we'll do a quick poll for everybody who's here. Great, good to know. So the poll is about AI features and what do your clients care most about? It's a great segue. We are excited to talk to you guys about this today. Okay, let's see, 25 responses at least. Amazing. Okay, I see. Can we share those poll results on screen? Does that work? Okay, I'm gonna pull up some slides, but thank you for the responses to the poll. Okay, let's get started. Thank you all for joining us. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate everyone's time, taking time out of your day to come learn about 3D and AI. You guys can all see the screen, I hope. We are here to talk about AI, business financials, and future-proofing your construction clients. We'll do some quick introductions, do some housekeeping, and then we'll get on with the show. I'm Cameron John. I lead product marketing here at Houzz. I am eager. I work with our construction and our design clients all the time, but specifically our bookkeepers. So I'll pass it to Andy, and she can introduce herself, and then Bradford can take it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andy Nelson. I have been with Houzz for a little over 7 years. Originally, I have a background in finance and accounting, and originally came on as Houzz's QuickBooks and accounting integration expert. And I recently moved over to Cameron's team, to the product marketing team, still working on all things finance related, QuickBooks integration. And happy to have this webinar today. Looking forward to how this all goes and hope you guys get a lot out of it.
My name's Bradford Schumann. I'm a CPA that works primarily with interior design firms and small construction firms. And I've been working with Houzz in the accounting capacity since 2017. And yeah, we service over 100 different clients and assist with their bookkeeping, sales tax, and income tax preparation.
Thank you. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to give you a quick overview of how Houzz Pro and IES connect together. Just a quick description about what it does. I'm going to spend a couple minutes talking about the AI that we've built for the construction industry and for the design industry. That's all throughout the Houzz Pro platform. And then Andy's going to talk about how Houzz Pro and QuickBooks is integrated together. And we'll have a Q&A at the end. Bradford is going to give some color commentary all throughout from the perspective of a practitioner in the field. Okay, so let's get going here. Housekeeping, Adam, you have access to the deck. You'll get the recording right afterwards. So sit back and enjoy the show. So I want to give you the 30-second overview of what is Houzz Pro. Some of you know what it is. Some of you don't. It's an all-in-one end-to-end solution to run a profitable construction business or a design business. So for the bookkeepers in the audience, what that means is you'll be able to recommend it or help your clients through it with proactive business leadership. So it means you and your contractors or designer clients can scale the operations without sacrificing any of the quality and the reputation that you built. And the whole point is that it gives the designers, the contractors, yourself, the bookkeeper, as well as the homeowner, the client, the visibility that they need to feel confident when they're going through a renovation project. Okay, so how does Houzz Pro and QuickBooks IES work together? So there's a number of ways the platforms fit together. So that they connect. Obviously, Houzz Pro and QuickBooks Online have a one-way sync. What does that mean for a bookkeeper, for a contractor or an interior designer? It means no more double entry, no more doing things twice. Which increases the efficiency of your business, helps both sides stay organized. It means one seamless workflow for managing the cash flow of the business, as well as managing the operations with the client. And there's the sync is automatic, which Andy will show you in a live integrated account right when we're done. I see some questions coming in from the Q&A window. We will filter those, prioritize those, and answer as many of those as we can. So thank you for putting those in. Great. Shelly, don't worry about the poll. It's fine. Okay, so AI is a hot term, but it's a big umbrella term, and I wanted to break it down and give everyone sort of just a quick level set of the terms that you probably have heard a few times, maybe some you haven't, and how does that apply to Houzz? So generative AI. So think ChatGPT is probably the most famous one here, but inside of Houzz Pro, what that means is your estimates can be generative AI, schedules can be generative AI, the job schedule that the construction team is actually working on. You can use AI to draft messages, format your documents. So that's sort of the first level of it. Machine learning is, this is what makes the AI work. It's the large language model behind it that improves the data, improves accuracy. So think of the recommendation engine that you get in Amazon, Spotify, Netflix. That is powered by a large language model, a machine learning model that suggests things that are specific to you, that they know you are going to like. So we use the machine learning technology on the back end in Houzz to turn a 2D image into a 3D product that can go into a 3D floor plan. Computer vision, you might have heard this idea. This is sort of like when you use your face to unlock your phone, or Google Translate is another way this might show up. Take a picture of something in a language you don't speak. Google Translate will translate it for you. We have that in Houzz Pro. It turns it in the example of a construction takeoff for materials quantities. Take some architectural plans. The computer vision AI will read it and help the contractor count how many doors, count how many windows automatically in a set of construction plan. The last one that I want to talk about is agentic AI. This is when the AI can think and take action. So it would be like a recommendation engine. It would be different ways you can use AI as your assistant to do things for you, not just summarize or create content for you. So think of your smart home. Think of the autonomous vehicles that are showing up in our cities, like the driverless taxis run by Waymo and whatnot. Okay, so Francisco's going to show. Just got my screen share. Francisco's going to show a quick video about how does AI show up in the construction space in the real world. So this is 2 minutes with our Houzz Pro's clients about how they use AI in their construction projects. Go ahead, Francisco.
Running a construction business means managing tons of tasks, some of which can take hours out of your workday. That's where Houzz Pro's AI tools come in. Built to handle the busy work, Automate AI frees you up to focus on the tasks that matter most, boosting profits and keeping clients happy. And it can even start working its magic at the lead stage. When someone reaches out, Houzz Pro's AI can instantly suggest the right response, which you can send in seconds. That means less time writing and a higher chance of hitting their inbox first. With Automate on the team, you can also import 2D floor plans and turn them into 3D models that you can build to spec. It can even convert 2D product images into 3D models for use in your plans, making way for faster approvals and fewer change orders down the line. Automate can also convert your 3D floor plan or your takeoff into a professional estimate at the push of a button. You can even speak estimates into existence with a simple AI-powered voice or text prompt, organizing products, materials, and totals for each into detailed line items, helping you get your bids out the door in minutes, not days. Estimate approved? Converted into an editable schedule with a click, complete with project phases, tasks, and the typical amount of time for each. Your milestones won't know what hit them. One of the best things about Automate is it goes where you go. Need to bring up a client or track down a note? How about track time or create a daily log or change order? With the Houzz Pro mobile app, you say it and Automate makes it happen. And that's just some of what Houzz Pro's AI assistant can help you streamline, so you can get back to running your business without the busy work. That's the power of built-in AI from Houzz Pro.
Thank you, Francisco. I'll bring my slides back up right now. Okay, can everybody see that? Okay, so the reason I showed that video is to just paint a picture of how AI is running through construction workflows end to end these days. And really what it's doing is helping quiet the noise. It gives you the safety blanket, the safety net underneath you and your clients to make sure no detail falls through the cracks, which means your clients, your homeowners are getting a much better experience. Okay, so the benefits of AI and how you can translate into the help contractors and designers. It helps them save time. It helps them generate an estimate in minutes. Click a button and it does it for you. You can type it in. You can speak into it the way you would speak to Siri or speak into your phone. Speak it into existence. Say it. Yeah, I have clients that tell me all the time, I got a ballpark estimate that was ready to go, that was ready for me to review in a couple of sentences in a couple of minutes. And then we're spending a couple of days, maybe a couple hours on creating an estimate. And the other thing that Houzz Pro offers offers contractors is a workflow. It's not just a bunch of AI features that are kind of spread around. They all connect into seamless workflows. Make an estimate, hit a button, it turns into a schedule. Scan a 3D space, hit a button, and turn it into an estimate. So this is how your construction clients are able to present better, get their bids in before the other guys, and make sure that things are moving forward so they can go out and pitch new work and delight their clients. Obviously, helps them stay organized. It connects to all your project data. Everything sits in one place. It's an all-in-one platform, and it helps you manage every detail. And then for the bookkeepers, it makes sure when you have visibility into all the details, the books are clean, the finances are clean. And what that means, what the business benefit there is that it turns into professional output. They always look polished, professional, on brand, and they're able to do more with less people. So I want to show you a couple of examples of what this looks like. So imagine you're in a client's home, or your contractor clients are in the home, use their phone, spin in a circle, and very quickly they get a full 3D model that gives the client a great presentation, a visual on what this thing is going to look like. So what that means for your contractors is that they're impressing the homeowner from day one. From the first interaction, they're showing that they are tech forward, tech first. And there's no hardware to buy. It's all in the iPhone. It's all in the iPad. So this is what I was talking about, how you can improve speed and accuracy. So what we're showing here is an estimate, and you click a button, it turns into a full job schedule. So of course you'll need to review it and make sure everything looks right before you send it to the client. But you just cut hours out of your workflow, translating an estimate into a schedule. So it can also, AI can quickly find information for you, fill out local cost data when you don't have it at hand. Huge time saver. The other thing I want to show you is how you can get your field team. So it's not just the folks in the office working on a big screen or working at a desk. The AI is all the way through our mobile app. It's one of the most powerful things that AI can do for to empower the field teams and the subcontractors that you work with. We hear it all the time. It's difficult to get people to adopt new technology. So what we built is just the ability to talk to your phone and have it turn your words into an on-brand professional estimate in Houzz Pro. You can ask it questions that just like you would an assistant or someone back at the office. You can ask it, where's the change order? What's the change order for that project? Where can I find this? What are the product specs for this sink install? And you can also on-site make a 3D scan on your phone. So it gives everyone access to the full power of Houzz Pro to manage a project and make good business decisions. This is my last one. So this is the ability for AI to help you as a contractor or as a bookkeeper on the team look forward and figure out what to focus on. So we use AI to look across an entire Houzz Pro account and flag things that are the most important for you to pay attention to, whether it's your time and expenses, your finances, your leads. So we built this with the idea that with one hand, with your phone, 2 swipes in an email, you can get a full summary of your business and look at what's most important. So Andy's going to tell us a little bit about QuickBooks.
All right. So QuickBooks Online integration with Houzz Pro. We have a one-way sync from Houzz Pro to QuickBooks Online. What exactly syncs to QuickBooks? And I'm going to do a live demo so you guys can see exactly how it works. So your customers, your clients in Houzz Pro, your projects as sub-customers, and your vendors, your products, your services, materials, all pushes to QuickBooks via documents. So your Houzz Pro clients will sync to QuickBooks Online, as well as your projects as sub-customers and your vendors. So no double entry is required. We also have your documents, your payments, so estimates, invoices, purchase orders, change orders, all of those push to QuickBooks Online. I'll show you how that works. Corresponding payments, retainer payments. You can take payments on estimates, deposit payments. Those will all push over to QuickBooks, including payments that you're recording in Houzz Pro that you're making to your vendor. So let's see what this looks like.
One thing to note too, Andy, is there's a lot of project management softwares out there that sort of advertise having a QuickBooks integration, and we found that Houzz is one of the few platforms that actually has a complete integration where you're able to sync, estimates, invoices, purchase orders, bill payments, what have you. There's quite a few platforms out there where they'll just sync the invoices or just sync estimates and invoices, and they don't sync the purchase order. So it is important to note that it is a robust integration where all of the financial documents that you're using are supported.
Yes, thank you. Very true. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen.
Let me turn off mine. While Andy does that, I see there's a couple questions in the chat. I'll handle a couple of them while Andy brings up her screen. Thomas, we fully cover Android. Sorry, I didn't mention it in my answer. I use Android. I should have mentioned it. Automate goes across all platforms. Is there other quick ones? We'll handle the other ones because the answers are a little more they're a little more detailed. Ronnie, Amir, and Cooper. Go ahead, Andy.
All right. And if we have any other polls to launch, let's go ahead and do that. And I will dive into Houzz Pro and our QuickBooks integration. So here we are. I'm on the main page of my Houzz Pro account. Right over here in our financial hub is your QuickBooks Online dashboard. This is how you get to your QuickBooks integration. When you first click into the QuickBooks Online dashboard, if you're not connected, this is what you're going to see. It's a very simple one click and you're done just to connect to your QuickBooks Online account. There's a few steps here, setup steps, making sure that your automated sales tax is set up in QuickBooks, some other settings to check, and then a integration overview video that shows you everything you need to do to connect, to integrate, do your mapping, all of that. So if we come here, let's actually go over.
Could you go back to that screen really quick, Andy?
Sure.
A couple things to note. One is you do actually need QuickBooks Plus to support the purchase order sync functionality. I see that as a common issue where some of the lower QuickBooks levels, they don't support the purchase order. So yeah, something to keep in mind is you have to have the QuickBooks Plus level. The other thing that's really nice about connecting Houzz to QuickBooks is you can actually connect Houzz to QuickBooks as your client's pro advisor. So your client doesn't necessarily have to do it through their account and their user. You can actually essentially do it on their behalf if you're connected to their QuickBooks account as a pro advisor. And so we actually are able to sort of take over that step for clients and instead of having to do it through their user.
Yes, great point. All right, so let's go over to our QuickBooks Online dashboard. And before I talk about the dashboard, I'd like to show you the settings. How do you dictate where your Houzz Pro information, where does it go in QuickBooks? Where do you want it to go in QuickBooks? It's all completely customizable. So if you come over here, you'll see the QuickBooks Online settings in the upper right corner. And I am going to ask Brad for some best practices here, but I'll just explain what this page is. So we've got your historic sync date. Let's say you just started, your QuickBooks account, but you've been using Houzz Pro for 6 months. You can historically sync transactions from Houzz Pro into QuickBooks. So you dictate that. You have your payment mapping settings. So if you're going to be recording retainer payments, estimate deposit payments, you can dictate how those sync over to QuickBooks. Do you want them to hit your liability account, or do you want to report them as unapplied payments, essentially unapplied income in QuickBooks? So you can dictate that here. And then, of course, you've got your deposit account, whether it's your checking or you choose Wells Fargo checking, say, or you want to use undeposited funds. You've got your liability account for those deposits that I mentioned. And when you first connect Houzz Pro and QuickBooks, you'll see these defaults that get created in the chart of accounts. And then it's very important to come here and go do your mapping. You want to make sure you're mapping out your bill pay accounts for vendor payments, your bank, your credit card. And then you can choose to exclude, maybe you use other features like bill.com, things like that. So you can choose to exclude purchase orders or change orders. And then you just simply click here and save. Any best practices here, Brad?
I'd say maybe just one thing to note is in terms of the deposit account, there's really two kind of ways to approach this. We personally like to have the payments go directly to the checking account. And then that makes it to where in the QuickBooks bank feed, you're essentially matching the deposits that are coming in to deposits that are syncing directly to your client's checking account. The other way to do it is to use the undeposited funds in that deposit account. And then for better and for worse, that just adds one extra step where, in QuickBooks, you then go to, create deposit, and then you sort of match the payments that are related to that deposit. Definitely a little bit of preference, but good to know that, both are kind of viable options depending on your preferred workflow.
Great. All right. Now, that's one component of being able to dictate where your Houzz Pro information is going into your QuickBooks account. Now, what about profit and loss? So we have account mapping for products and account mapping for services. You'll have your defaults here. Houzz Pro products is a sales of product income account. Houzz Pro purchases is a default, again, those default accounts that we set up in QuickBooks when you first connect. Your cost of goods sold account. By all means, you can pick your own accounts. Maybe you have your cost of goods sold account already set up in QuickBooks. So you can change that default mapping here. But what our users love is being able to get very granular. So let's say you have a construction business, you have an electrical division, and you want to closely monitor how well you're doing with your electrical sales. You can take that category and map it. You set up your electrical income, electrical cost of goods sold account in your QuickBooks chart of accounts. And then you can map that category to those income and expense accounts, cost of goods sold accounts. That way, all related products tied to this category that are set up in your product library will flow into these income and cost of goods sold accounts in QuickBooks. What does that do? You get a very granular profit and loss report in your QuickBooks account. So you can see I've mapped out electrical, flooring, kitchen and bath. Services, it's the same thing. I've broken out shipping, electrical and painting. So you get to dictate, whether you're the accountant or you are the contractor or designer, you dictate where this information flows in QuickBooks to get the reporting that you want.
Something to note too is that Houzz actually lets you create your own custom categories. So
Mhm.
you're not actually limited to sort of the defaults as far as, electrical painting, tile, what have you. So we'll have clients that, we'll create like a category called rendering, and that allows them to track both their income and expenses related to, outsourced rendering costs. But yeah, it's really kind of what you need it to be in terms of, if let's say you have a client that maybe doesn't fit into a normal mold, or has a unique need, you can sort of work around that relatively easily with the custom categories.
Great. All right, so let's go look at a proposal and let's see what this looks like going over to QuickBooks. So I'm in my project, the Nelson Residence, and I've built just a proposal estimate right here with some items, and you can see, so all of your documents have a sync indicator. And I'm so sorry, let me come back over here. I forgot the dashboard, the QuickBooks integration dashboard, very important. So this is when you first go to your QuickBooks section of Houzz Pro, it takes you directly to the dashboard. The dashboard is going to show you what's going on with all of your documents, all of your transactions, your payments. So you can see here, let's filter this by all. So you can see here, we've got bill payments, bills, purchase orders. It's indicating, this is ready for sync. We can sync now right here. You can do this from the document, and I'll show you that in just a minute. We've got sync complete. These invoices have already pushed over to QuickBooks Online. You can come over here to see related items. So any payments estimates that are tied to this invoice, you can click on that and it will show you those items. If we had any errors, any issues, you would see a red bar up here that indicates you have sync errors. If you click into that to look at those items, it's going to tell you right here what the issue is. Maybe a client was deactivated in QuickBooks. Maybe the invoice synced was deleted by accident in QuickBooks. Now the payment isn't able to sync. So you can essentially self-serve. You don't have to wait for support, call support. You can see any issues or things going on with your documents and your payments and fix the sync issue if needed, or see what status is, like you see here with all of these.
One of the most common sync errors that comes up is having duplicate invoice numbers. Something to note is if you have a client that is invoicing clients both through Houzz and through QuickBooks, you want to make sure that when you are creating a QuickBooks invoice that you're not essentially using the same sequence of invoice numbers that that Houzz is going to want to.
So since we're
Yes.
talking about syncing, there's a couple questions in the chat from Cooper and from Brady about syncing cost codes. How does that work?
Yes, cost codes. So cost codes is a new feature we are rolling out. You will be able, just like you're able to map, let me go back over here to the settings. So just as you are able to map your categories, we will have cost code mapping to QuickBooks. So it will function the same way. You can map your category, but if you want to get very granular, you set up your cost codes in Houzz Pro, and you'll be able to map those to the income and cost of goods or expense accounts of your choice in QuickBooks. And you'll get that same granular reporting on your P&L.
Thank you, Andy. I
Sure.
hope that helped, Cooper.
Do we have any other questions?
It was mostly about cost codes.
Okay, got it.
Well, since we're doing it, let's just take a detour down question lane. Cooper had another question earlier about can Houzz add a project in QuickBooks Online instead of a sub-customer account?
So we are looking at mapping project to project if you're using the projects feature in QuickBooks. Currently, the projects will push over as sub-customers, but it is something we're looking at doing so that you could map a project in Houzz Pro to a project in QuickBooks under the projects feature.
To answer Stacy's question, she asked, "Can I link my Houzz Pro account to multiple QuickBooks accounts?" My understanding is that's a no. You're really going to want to have
Yeah.
one, a Houzz Pro account for each separate QuickBooks account.
Mhm. Yeah, it would be, you can only link Houzz Pro to one QuickBooks account. And if for any reason you have more than one Houzz account, you only want to go one-to-one. You only want to link one Houzz account to one QuickBooks account. All right.
Okay. So there's a whole lot of questions coming in. If you have a question, don't be shy. Someone else does too. I say let's get Brad's perspective on some of this stuff, and Brad can talk for one slide, and then we can do a whole Q&A with all of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna jump to the next slide, Andy.
Yeah, let's look at a document. Let's go back to our proposal. Excuse me. So we've got our proposal here. Sync indicator, not ready for sync. This is essentially, this document is in draft mode. You can see that right here. So you've got a few options to push this over to QuickBooks. If you record a payment right down here, so you record a payment, that will automatically sync it to QuickBooks. You or your client you can do this on their behalf, or they get this, they see this in their client dashboard. They have a very intuitive client dashboard that helps them know everything that's going on with their project. So they can approve it, you can approve on their behalf. You can also sync a draft document. You can do this with purchase orders, invoices, and estimates. So I'm just going to go ahead and sync the draft. You can see sync in progress right here. And while that's doing its thing, I'm going to come down here and record a payment just so you can see how this lines up in QuickBooks. So we're just going to record, we'll say it was a check. I'm going to backdate this February 20th. Whatever reference number you want, and then you can send your client a receipt of that payment received. We, of course, also have online payments. So your clients can easily pay you with the click of a button with their credit card or via ACH bank transfer. You can offset the fees to your client if you want them to cover the processing fee, or you can just absorb that cost yourself. So great options there. Now we've got our payment down here. All right. Now let's jump over to QuickBooks. And let's see if we don't have our payment over here. So I'll show you also in QuickBooks what the customer and sub-customer look like. So if we come over here, Essentially, what you'll see is you've got your client right here, and then your project as a sub-customer. Now, let's go over here to our bank feed. So very, very important to note. It's what I tell all of our users, all of our accountants. You have to make sure that you are matching in your bank feed the items that are coming over from Houzz Pro. So that's going to be bill payments and it's going to be customer payments. You can see right down here, I have a match. I recorded a payment to a vendor. We've got a match right here. So I just go ahead and match that. Anything that's an overhead transaction, we've got Mercury Insurance. You can just simply, categorize that and add it. That's not reported in Houzz Pro. So you're handling your overhead, non-project related transactions as you normally would in your bank feed, but you'll want to match. So you can see here, we have our sales receipt because I'm mapped to sales receipts in my Houzz Pro account. So we've got a match right here. Let's say you got two payments from two different customers. You deposited them both on the same day. You would actually want to click to match right here and then grab your two deposits on that screen, on that secondary screen here. Let's go ahead and I'll show you right here. So you've got, you want to make sure you're matching up right here, but that's the biggest thing. You don't want to categorize an ad. You don't want to categorize a deposit to income. If it's something recorded in Houzz Pro, you want to make sure that you are matching over here in your bank feed and credit card feed. We've got the same thing with our credit card. Any thoughts here, Brad?
When we're doing bookkeeping for our Houzz Pro clients, usually we have Houzz Pro on one monitor, QuickBooks on the other monitor, and sort of the first step is to record the payment in Houzz, whether it's a client payment or a vendor payment. That then drives the sync to QuickBooks, and then you're able to match your bank feed transaction to what synced from Houzz. And then that keeps you from having any sort of duplication where, if you were posting it directly, you would, be, duplicating expenses or duplicating income. The other thing that it allows you to do is it allows you to get really, really granular information in QuickBooks without manually entering any of it. So, for instance, a bill is going to sync to QuickBooks and it's going to have every single different line item and it's going to break that out into the different categories. And that just prevents, a lot of tedious work. I've seen firms before spend hundreds of hours manually recreating, bills and purchase orders instead of leveraging the sync. And the huge efficiency boost when you're using it correctly.
Yes,
thanks for the
thank you.
perspective, Brad. So I thought I thought I'd let you just wrap it up with some of your final best practices here from a certified bookkeeper, and then we'll do all the questions. There's a bunch of them in here that we want to make sure to get to. Take it away, Brad.
So number one, I would say is you always want to make sure you're separating product and service revenue for your design and construction clients. Thankfully, Houzz, the integration essentially lets you do that through the custom mapping. We find this to be extremely useful in terms of assisting with sales tax reporting, since product is typically always subject to sales tax and services generally are not subject to sales tax depending on the state and the circumstances. It also lets the client better understand what money they're bringing in from their design services or subcontractor services versus just selling, furniture or product or materials, since, typically service revenue is going to have a different margin than your product revenue. The other thing that's really kind of the secret sauce to Houzz and the integration is that it really lets you leverage project level reporting. So because the invoices and the bills are syncing into QuickBooks, with the project assigned, it actually lets you in QuickBooks run a profit and loss by project, and you can essentially help your clients better understand their markup by project, what their design and service revenue is by project. And that really kind of cuts through, looking at a generalized profit and loss where the business owner might not really understand where those numbers are coming from. So that's kind of huge in terms of, getting that project level reporting without having to sort of manually tag every single transaction to the project. One thing that's just a general best practice is one of the ways we kind of check to make sure that the Houzz to QuickBooks Sync is working well and doesn't have any sort of hiccups is to reconcile accounts receivable between the two platforms. And what that might look like is just to compare, let's say you in QuickBooks have an accounts receivable balance of $5,000. You kind of do a quick check to make sure, okay, well, wait, that's what it is in Houzz as well. As long as the integration is working and there's no sync errors, essentially accounts receivable will stay in congruence with each other. Um, we talked about order of operations a little bit. The Houzz activity drives the QuickBooks postings, which allows you to sort of avoid typing and using your keyboard too much. Typically, when we're doing bookkeeping, we're really using the mouse and clicking more than we're doing any sort of typing. Um, we kind of touched on this too. It's generally advised against invoicing in multiple platforms when you're using Houzz and the integration to QuickBooks. It can get a little bit confusing when you're manually creating invoices in QuickBooks separate from Houzz. So that's definitely a good practice is that just keep all the invoicing in Houzz so that you can kind of reconcile between the two platforms. One of the other great features that Houzz has is great reporting in terms of helping your clients understand their open liabilities. Unfortunately, for design firms and construction firm owners, at any given point in time, they might have, a multitude of open bills. They might have a large amount of sales tax that they've collected from clients, but hasn't been paid to the state yet. So in Houzz, you can actually run reports for your open purchase orders to keep track of what's owed to vendors. You can run reports that help you track what your sales tax liability is. So that really kind of helps you kind of consult with your clients on what cash flow is available for them to distribute or to invest in their business. One thing to note with the sales tax calculations is in Houzz you get to essentially choose the sales tax rate that you want to charge your client. You essentially can set up a default sales tax rate for each project. QuickBooks works a little bit differently in the sense that they have the automated sales tax feature where it'll compute the sales tax rate based on the address. So it's actually kind of a nice balance where QuickBooks also serves as like a check to make sure that your sales tax rate in Houzz is accurate. So if there's a discrepancy between the sales tax rate in QuickBooks and the sales tax rate in Houzz, that kind of gives you an indication that you should double check that sales tax rate. Retainers are a really, really useful tool in when you're collecting a large payment from a client. So we'll often see design firms or construction firms collect a large, let's say $100,000 retainer to kick off purchasing of materials. Let's say your estimates and proposals aren't quite finalized yet, and it's you're kind of just getting the ball rolling. And Houzz you could collect a retainer, and then you could then later apply that retainer against invoices and estimates that you're generating after the fact. And that kind of helps keep things a little bit better organized in terms of communicating to the client what they've paid and how it's been applied. The other thing, just on the notes of estimates and proposals, is estimates and proposals are meant to be a working document. So it's great to use that feature and to use the proposal and estimates to manage any of the changes that might happen to those items before the final installation and invoicing. And then Houzz actually lets you convert the proposals and estimates into the final invoice. So you're able to essentially continually edit that proposal and estimate until, pricing is finalized and you're kind of sure what exactly is going on. And then from there, you could turn it into the final invoice. And then that final invoice is what triggers typically the sales tax reporting and revenue recognition and what have you.
Great. Thanks for the perspective, Brad.
Amazing.
I'm going to stop my screen. Andy's going to close out with one last offer for you guys, and then we'll take the questions. And Brad, you
Yes.
have a few that you're
So
going to answer.
two things I wanted to mention. If you are integrating Houzz Pro with QuickBooks Online, we have a dedicated integration support team, the team I used to be on. So we have someone there to onboard you, get you, your accountant, set up, go through the mapping, answer any questions that you have. We also have an accountant's program. This is something that we just recently launched. You'll have this information in the resource doc, the downloadable PDF that's available with the resources you're going to be receiving. So what this is, we have a referral program. So you're an accountant, you bring clients to us to get on Houzz Pro. They're good to go with their project management. You can earn referral rewards. So there's information about that here. And then also we have a Houzz Pro certification. So you can take a short test, get Houzz Pro accounting certified, have that badge, promote yourself to clients, construction, interior design clients that are looking for an accountant. We constantly have users, our pros, come to us saying, I need an accountant. My old bookkeeper retired. I need someone new. I need someone that's up to speed with AI and all of that stuff. So we have a plethora. Brad is one of our top accounting partners. He manages tons of clients. So just something to note here. And you can, there's FAQs if you have further questions, but definitely something to check out. So you can look and see, you can get featured on our vendor portal as well to attract more clients, things like that. So great program for our accounting partners.
Awesome. Okay, there's a whole bunch of questions in here. We've answered some of them, but I wanted to, Brad, do you want to answer the question from Roxanne? I'll read it out loud.
Yeah, let's maybe address Roxanne's question first. Do you mind, Andy, sharing your screen again and pulling up QuickBooks? Because I think the best way to answer this is going to be to show Roxanne where she's asking, because most of the payments from the clients are made via credit card, the payment posted in Houzz is higher than the bank deposit, so the invoice payments do not show up to match the payment. Do you have a workaround for this? So this is a very common phenomena where, well, and something to note too, in Houzz, you can either charge your client the transaction fee or you can absorb it. And it sounds like in this scenario, it sounds like essentially the designer or the construction firm is absorbing the transaction fee. So let's just say, for instance, that deposit right now that you have, Andy, for 581. So let's just say, for instance, the client payment was 26 something, and that was the original payment. So after the processing fees, the amount that comes into the account is the 2581. So because they don't match up right away, it's not gonna, in the face of the bank feed, suggest the match. But if you click in on that transaction and then you press match, it will then pull up all of the payments that are in the checking account in QuickBooks. And then maybe just choose, if you select some of these. So you would essentially choose the payment that's coming in, and then the difference between the deposit and the payments that you're selecting is going to be the processing fee. And so we'll press that resolve button at the bottom there. And then the kind of best practice for this is there's actually typically there's an account that's called the Houzz Pro transaction fee expense. Is that in there, Andy?
Let's see.
I guess it depends on how you set this one up.
Yeah, I may have deactivated
yeah,
it, but
really, personal preference whether you post it to.
Oh, no, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, so typically there's going to be this Houzz Pro transaction fee expense account that's a cost of goods sold account, and that essentially lets you, um, account for the transaction fee that your client's incurring. Another really good
Mm-hmm.
practice of this too is to specify the payee. So when you're resolving it, if you specify
Mm-hmm.
the client name in this field, it will ensure that your profit and loss by project, that transaction fee expense is assigned to that specific project. One thing to
Mm-hmm.
note though too is if they're charging the transaction fee to their customer, this doesn't happen. And we always recommend clients to charge the transaction fee back to clients because that 3% processing can really eat into their markup on product sales. And for clients that maybe give a little bit of pushback, you can essentially let them know that, there's all alternative ways they could pay, whether it be by, check or, wire transfer or what have you, to avoid the credit card processing.
Thanks, Brad.
Perfect.
Last call for questions. If anyone has any other questions that we want to address, there's a few more in here, but I want to make sure that we all have time to answer the questions so we can wrap up on time and respect everybody's calendar. So, Brad, do you want to handle the one from, apologies if I say it right, wrong, Taya?
I think
My
you got that
client,
right.
did we?
No, I think you had her name right, hopefully.
Oh, got it. Okay.
She says, if my clients start to record cost of goods sold expenses from Lowe's, Home Depot, etc., and Houzz Pro, then I should be able to match the QuickBooks transaction item with the project already populated. Correct. So that is true. I think one thing to note is typically the best practice is to make sure that those cost of goods sold transactions are captured on purchase orders. And then essentially what you do is you record. So you'd have like let's say a Home Depot purchase order with the items that were purchased from Home Depot. And then once you record that purchase order is being paid in Houzz, that will sync a bill and a bill payment to QuickBooks that you can then match the transaction to. And through the sync, it will already, essentially assign it to that specific project.
Thank you. Clay, good to see you. I've talked to you in the past before. Thank you for your business. Yes, we have a network of construction familiar accountants that work with construction clients. I will send you a note now and connect you with one. But like Andy said, if you, for any of the contractors or designers in the room here, if you need help with a designer that's familiar with your specific kind of business, we have a network that can help there.
And there is a in Houzz, maybe you want to pull that up, Andy, to show where
Oh,
to
yeah.
find the service provider directory.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those things that I feel like a lot of people don't realize that exists.
Yes. So right over here, let's move this guy.
Right next to it, it's in the question mark.
Yes, right here. You've got service providers directory, find a bookkeeper. That will take you to our vendor portal. Let's see, Brad right here. We've got a couple of other firms, and they specifically work with Houzz Pro clients, contractors, and designers. So we've got quite a few here.
One thing to note too is beyond our sort of full service services that we offer to design firms and contractors, I'm always super open to helping other accountants and open to training and helping or helping clients internal bookkeeping staff and sort of getting the right processes down. Yeah, there's thankfully a lot of resources now as far as professionals who know how to use Houzz Pro.
Lovely. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and all the detailed questions. Again, you'll get the recording and you have access to the deck now. Thank you so much, Bradford. Thank you so much, Andy. I will talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.